All right, Libra, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is going to be for the 28th of December through the 3rd of January. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to this type of astrology, do check the description down below because the signs are different. All right, Libra, so not a whole lot going on astrologically this week, just a couple major aspects. But your ruler does shift into Scorpio this week, Venus, going from your first house here to your second house of the more material values of life, the good meal, finances, material stuff, and really I think just focusing more in terms of what you value in life in general. So this has been a serious part of your chart because you've had Saturn here, so it's, bigger picture, longer term, patience and hard work with those earthly things in life. But now with your ruler here, really focusing on that maybe in the more mundane level, maybe how you can apply that in a shorter term and sort of maybe shorter term goals and things like that, because it is your ruler with that. And Venus typically does lift up a particular area, so it kind of lightens it up a little bit. And I think it's a good way of, with you, seeing how you can put in that hard work and patience and stuff over these next few weeks with Venus going into that second and over Saturn there. So that's going to be the shift. That's going to be on Thursday, though. So that's and it's quite subtle in her transit. So this later part of the week, we'll probably feel that shift there. And with that, though, we do have a couple major aspects, both going exact on Tuesday. One of which is very important. Mercury slowing down. He's going to go retrograde next week. And because he's going so slow, he is going to be forming a very long aspect with Mars. He's going to be squaring up to Mars during this retrograde period. So the key with this is it sometimes does feel a little bit of that irritable kind of energy with touchy kind of energy with this kind of aspect for everybody in a general sense. Of course, your personal chart is what really matters. But it is involving this groundedness, and I think is a good week to have that hard work and patience and groundedness in general, specifically involving maybe your third house of communications, correspondence, learning, reading, writing, sharing, socializing perhaps, since Mercury is transiting that third house. Mercury is already about those things anyways too, but for you specifically around that. And that's an area that I think you've had a lot of focus and attention anyways with the sun here, and the sun is going to be kind of lifting that up a little bit, sextiling up to Neptune. So while it is needing that extra attention, maybe there is some easygoingness about the communications, at least this first half of the week with that sextile up to Neptune. But Mercury does also rule your 9th house and your 12th house, and that's essentially where Mars is transiting that 12th house. So maybe there's something about rest, about faith and trust that needs to be implemented this week, and implemented into the daily sphere of things. And so a good way to kind of focus on that. Also, I think there's been a lot of maybe motivation to maybe do some spiritual activities, or at least that's a good way of working with it. Mars in the 12th house, things like meditation, yoga, prayer, anything that involves like an active participation in the spiritual, what you might call spiritual aspects of life, is very good. But with that square, it does take that maybe extra effort or attention to do so, but it can be very, very constructive. In fact, with this kind of aspect, a lot can actually get done and solidified with that willingness to do so. Now, Mars does rule your 2nd and your 7th house also, so the financial, material stuff as well as relationships. Bringing that extra attention there again, maybe with the communication with relationships, maybe with the extra understanding about your values in life, again, implementing that specifically with this Venus shift into your 2nd. So that's going to be the major aspects, those two. And, Neptune, again, is in your 5th house, so it could be easy going with your self-expression this week. Depends on your personal chart, but a sextile usually means some sort of opening with that, with the sun. So that's pretty much it. The lunar aspect is probably going to take the forefront this week because we have so few major aspects. So I want to talk about the moon here real quick. This whole lunar cycle was about your 2nd house anyways, about the financial material stuff. So maybe new insights, new ideas about that have been shaping up over the past few weeks. So it's a great week for that, how you can continue with those new beginnings. They're both in the short term of this next week, but also in the next 6 months of this whole solar cycle that just took place involving that 2nd house of yours. So really, again, examining your values and maybe working hard and being very patient and grounded with the, financial, the nest egg, that sort of stuff. And one thing too, last week we did have a full moon in your 9th, so maybe there were some insights about your life path and where the life is, general life is going, maybe philosophy, spirituality, things like that can certainly be implemented this week because we are in that 3rd quarter phase. All right, Libra, so have a great one. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll see you guys all next week. Take care.